Welcome to another math session at Panther Math Corner. This is your teacher, Dr. Howard, and this lesson involves rewriting equations and formulas. And this lesson will involve two videos. A part one, which will involve rewriting equations and formulas. And part two will be sample questions dealing with real world problems. So there will be word problems for part two using formulas and rewriting equations. So let's begin. Before we do any examples, let's define a literal equation, because we're rewriting literal equations. An equation that has more that has two or more variables. It's called a literal equation. All right. So when we let me zoom out of just a little bit. Oh, all right. So an equation. Let me put this back a little bit. Sorry for the closeness. All right. I'll put it here. Okay, an equation that has two or more variables is called a literal equation. And what that means is that you're going to have variables that are very distinct, x, y, z, and so on. You're not going to have two of the same variables, but in this case, a literal equation involved two distinct variables, totally different. Example, I'm going to solve the literal equation (3y plus 4x equals to 9), and it says 4y. Alright. And that's important because it says solve the literal equation 3y plus 4x equals to 9 for y. So we need to identify the variable that y will equate to. That's what it means. Y must equals to this. Alright, that's what we need to find out. Okay, y will equal to that, and we'll look at that after we solve this expression. Now, we need to follow the rules of solving equation, get one variable on the other side. In this case, we need to get x on this side. So we're going to use, I'm going to write this over again, 3y plus 4x equals to 9. Alright, we're going to subtract 4x on both sides. Alright, okay, they cancel. Bring down the 3y equals to 9 minus 4x. You can't subtract 4 from 9 because it's not going to work. We can write it in the expression to where we can combine the terms based upon the operation. Alright, so if you say 9 minus 4x is 5x, that's wrong. 5x, that's not right. Okay, so you have to write it in terms of combining your unlike terms. In this case, it's bound by a minus sign, so it would be 9 minus 4x. You see, there are two different terms. Alright, there's no x here. Alright, so you can't take away from 4x. You can't take 4x, take away 4x. You can't take away 4x from 9. It's not going to work. Okay, now we need to divide by 3 on both sides. So we're going to divide 3 here and then divide 3 here. Alright? Okay, so they cancel. You have y equals to 3 over 9. 9 over 3 is reduced to 3 minus 4x over 3. And this is your answer. So y equals to 3 minus 4x over 3. Or y equals to 3 minus 4/3 x. Alright. We're going to do another one. I'm going to erase this. And I'm going to show you another example using solving a literal equation. Solve the literal equation y equals to 3x plus 5xz for x. And while I'm writing this down, I just had a thought. I'm going to create 3 videos. I'm going to separate the literal equations from the formulas, so that the load of you looking at these videos will be lessened, so it won't be too much of a cognitive load or memory overload for you. So I'm going to create a second video, which will be part 2 for formulas. And also I will have the definition already present, so I won't have to write it. Alright. And again, sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, we're going to solve for x, alright? So we need to somehow get x by itself. But first, we need to get this so that we can set up x by itself. Let's do this. We're going to look. We got an x here and we got an x here. All right. So we have to somehow separate. So we can use the distributive property to help us. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to you can say undistribute. We're going to repurpose the distributive property in the form of factoring out x. So let's do that first by factoring x. All right. Because that's where we need to find that x and x here have in common, and at the same time we need to, take x out, and this is how we do it. So I'm gonna rewrite it. Y equals to x. So right, 3 plus 5z. Sorry, 5z parenthesis. All right. See, this is what we did. We factor out the x. So if we multiply x to each term, we'll get the original term that we started. So we're on the right track. Now, we don't have to add or subtract, because what we're doing, we're not joining any terms together through addition and subtraction. So we need to get x by itself. And how do we do it? We divide. This is this whole term in parentheses. So it's one term together. All right, but 3 plus 5z. You treat it as one term because it's really in parentheses, and there's another name for it. It's a binomial, but later you're going to look at it as a binomial later on when we get into that. But right now it's one term with the parenthesis around it. So we divide by 3 times 3 plus 5z on both sides. Alright, guess what? They cancel. This whole section cancel because you have the same numerator and denominator. Right, then your final result is x equals to y over 3 plus 5z. And that's your final answer. And that's what we did. We solved for x. We solved for x. Thank you for joining me in another math session at Panther Math Corner. The next video will talk about formulas. Thank you very much. Have a great day.